everyone. Thank you for tuning in today to attend our fourth episode already of the Digital First Education series. We are so happy to see you connecting from all over the US and Europe today. My name is Jean-Baptiste Piron, and I'm co-founder of the French cluster. Just a quick reminder of our mission before we start the webinar. We are a group of French experts based in Los Angeles, and we help French-speaking people in California to reach their business goals. We are offering mentoring opportunities, an extensive network, and a deep knowledge of the different ecosystems of our beautiful region. And today we'll talk about the video platform. The video format for businesses has become over the years so crucial to promote your service or product, and now more than ever. And we will offer you a view on what is possible to do to optimize your reach and have fun, actually. So for that, I'm really excited to welcome not one, but two experts today, Hanna Sprague and Jessie Paz. Hanna and Jessie are part of the leadership team of Mile44, a global sports content studio based in Los Angeles. Hanna handles partnerships, while Jessie oversees all aspects of production. Prior to moving to Los Angeles, they both worked in the digital world at universities, professional sports teams, and magazines. Today, they work with clients such as the Laureates World Sport Awards, La Liga, Warner Brothers, Homeless World Cup, and Hope Solo. And don't forget, this is your webinar, so feel free to ask your question in the Q&A box just below on your screen, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. So welcome to the stage, Hanna and Jessie.
Thank you. Thank you guys all for joining the webinar today. I know we're how many months into quarantine, and I'm sure how many webinars into quarantine, but we're so stoked that you're here. I'm Hanna, this is Jessie. We both work at Mile44. So we're a team that builds out all sorts of content, everything from short form social assets to long form documentaries, and all of our work stems from the sports space. So when we were preparing for this webinar, we were laughing just a minute ago because almost every single thing that we create ends up on YouTube in some way, shape, or form. So it was fun to kind of put this together and just see how powerful it is of a platform to help you reach your business goals. Obviously, we only have 20 minutes today, so this is meant to just give a little bit of a taste of what YouTube can do for your business goals and leave you with some resources and things to dive in further and explore. We'll share our contact information at the end, both of our email addresses, if you want to get in touch with any questions. But we'll rock through it because we got 20 minutes and I'm sure some questions at the end.
Yeah, let's jump into it. So here's the crazy statistics. So we're comparing YouTube and Netflix, but the main thing is that YouTube isn't necessarily like Netflix. YouTube is actually a search engine. So kind of see it as Google. Whatever you need your information, any type of information that you're trying to get, you got to go to YouTube for it. So that's why you got to have all of your information and any type of assets that you're creating should be living on YouTube.
Yeah, and it's the stats is 11% of all global videos end up on YouTube. So it's obviously not something new, but I would argue that it's still a place where businesses can scale rather quickly. You're not too late to the party if you haven't done anything on YouTube yet. I think it's just about figuring out what those first steps are to join the party, if you will.
And especially during this pandemic, there's this huge amount of people that are just growing on YouTube just because people are at home and they're just going through the rabbit hole of YouTube, and all of these accounts are just growing rapidly. So I think it's a better time to join YouTube now than it has in the past couple of years.
For sure. We'll jump into the strategy side of things to start. I sound like a broken record when I talk about this with anything that lands on digital, but too many people try to think, what am I going to create, before they ask themselves who they're trying to reach. So different businesses will have different audiences, but you just want to make sure that whatever strategy you're putting together, whatever plans you're putting together, whatever videos you're putting together, you're figuring out who your ideal customer is and building that audience in your head of all of those different people. So you have to ask yourself, what are their concerns? What solutions are they looking for? What messages are going to resonate with them? And what's their demographic? If you ask yourself, who's your audience, and you say everyone, in my head, that means your audience is no one, because you're creating things probably for yourself rather than for the type of people that you're trying to reach. So just keep that in mind as you start with kind of a strategy. Make sure, like you would in a business plan, in a content plan, you're asking yourself the same thing. Who am I trying to reach?
Yeah, so when you're building out all of your assets, and I think the main way.
Sorry to interrupt you, Jessie and Hanna. Can you share your screen, full screen maybe, and move to your slide, because I think we are stuck. For myself, I'm stuck on the first slide. I don't know why. So.
Yeah, fix that. Let me just stop sharing and I'll share it. Ah. Thanks for saying something, JB. We built a pretty deck. People need to see it.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Back to this one, view, full screen. Perfect. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. So jumping into making content that can get replicated. So going back to Hannah's point, you need to understand your audience and you need to understand who you are and what you're trying to deliver. But at the same time, you need to find that middle ground and not really diminish what you're trying to create just for your audience. So it's always great to really create a predictable plan. So creating playlists, themes, series around topics that your audience is pretty much going to want to know more about.
Yeah, and we always laugh because you don't want to be a one-hit wonder. You know, those short-term metrics of getting a bunch of views might feel good, but if you don't have a plan to constantly be talking to those people, communicating with those people, providing more value, then you're not going to hit your business goals. So can it be replicated? How do we avoid being a one-hit wonder, and kind of what's that baseline content structure that we're going to be able to grow from?
Of course, and then some examples of these series is like Marquise Brown. He does reviews, but he breaks them down into reviews for phones, computers, cars. So he has these topics within all of these themes that pretty much is his overarching brand.
Yep, absolutely. And the next thing strategically you need to be thinking about is the content we're creating shareable? Is there a natural interest in what you're creating? If the answer to that is no, then don't waste your time. You have to figure out how to make people care, and you make people care by providing value in some way. So obviously that's going to look different for a lot of businesses. It's going to look entirely different if it's more of a personality, if you're having more of a personal brand on YouTube. But a good way to do this is research in your industry or what you're trying to be, who's already doing it well, right? That's the first place we look. Look to your competitors, look to other people that are out there, figure out what's working for them and not working for them. So much of this kind of work is very, very visible to an outside consumer. So we have a look at their playbook, if you will, of what works and what doesn't. So what's generating comments, what's generating shares, what's generating views. If those things are working for them, chances are there's some form of that that's also going to work for you. So just make sure you're doing that research on the front end.
Cool, and then here are the topics that we're going to get into. These are more of a tactical strategy. Mm-hmm. So quick little game plan. So we'll get into designing a compelling YouTube channel on your homepage, research keywords for tags, titles, and descriptions, optimize for watch time and audience retention, monitor analytics, and generating leads.
I think the slide is not changing. So I can share myself if you want, if you have trouble. Just a moment.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to not put it in full screen. I think that's what's creating the issue.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, thank you for saying something. I want to make sure.
You did a superb presentation, so I want people to see it. So.
Okay, I think I'm just going to keep it like this if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. So the first thing we have to do is design a compelling homepage. We talk about this, and people put so much effort into their website and a lot less effort into some of their social things, their outward facing social things sometimes. So when people find you, this is their first impression of you. Chances are this is when people are gonna get their best look and feel for who you are, what you represent, what kind of content you have, if they want to subscribe or not. So we want to make sure it's an accurate reflection of who you are and what your business is. Some basic things to add in there. Obviously, you want to have a name that represents either yourself or your business. A banner image, something that's eye-catching, something that looks professional, something that people are going to think of as entertainment in a way. You want to make sure that first video that they're seeing is that best highlight visual of themselves. You can see here, this is one of his more recent videos, but he's very clearly trying to push people in the direction of watching that video. That's probably going to put them down a rabbit hole of a bunch of other playlists he has. So you want to make sure that communication is there as well. And then obviously any playlists or any other channels on the right-hand side of this screen, you'll see the approved channels of other people in the space that have similar content. Again, you're just adding yourself to that conversation of things that might already be in existence.
Sweet. And then jumping into researching keywords and tags and descriptions, I think this is the most important part of your video. You need to find keywords that are going to suggest you as much as possible within the YouTube algorithm. So when you're going about your videos, for example, let's say you're doing a tech review and you're doing it about Samsung's 2019 version. You got to make sure that within within your title and within your description, you're mentioning all those keywords, but it's also great to actually put those within your video as well. So the more you say it in your video, the higher those keywords will rank within the YouTube algorithm. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a one-word keyword. It can also be a long-form keyword, which is strung with 3 or 4 words.
Yeah.
And then some websites that you can use to find these keywords that will help you rank a little bit higher is vidIQ and Keywords Everywhere. Those are plugins that will come up right next to your video. No one else will see it, but you'll be able to see what keywords are best or can be best utilized within the video that you created.
Yeah.
And then
no, absolutely. And I think it just goes back to the idea that YouTube is a search engine, right? So you can put all the pretty stuff up there in the world, but if people can't find it, if you're not including those things, then you're not doing all of the work in order for it to truly hit your goals. So Jesse, of these, what's visible to the audience and what isn't?
Yeah, so the keywords that are visible are the ones that come on your description and then any words that you do in your video, and most importantly, your title. But we also got the tags on the bottom. Those aren't visible to your audience, but those are tags that you can use as alternative long form keywords. So it can be different title suggestions that you can put in your tags that will lead you to your original tag, to your original title keyword suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. And those 2 tools he mentioned, which were vidIQ and Keywords Everywhere, those will help you identify what's already doing well. So it kind of goes back to look at your competitor and see what they're doing. I think both of these tools will help you pull what keywords they're using as well. So forward facing things that are the consumer, and then the back end stuff that's really going to allow you to succeed on the platform. Cool. Watch time is exactly what it sounds like. How long are people actually watching your videos? Obviously, if you're going to all the effort to making these videos and distributing them and getting everything right, you want to make sure people are watching them all the way through. So you have that audience retention and you're pulling people into your funnel, if you will. So obviously it's about how long are people watching your videos. We always talk about, it's a joke, but you want to send videos before you post them to trusted family, friends, colleagues, people that will be brutally honest with you, tell you if they watched the video all the way through, and if not, where did they leave off? You want to make sure that if you're losing people in some way, you want to change something about that, right? If they're not getting all the way to the end of their video, chances are they're not coming back to watch your next videos. They're not going to your website. You've lost, and they're on to the next YouTube hole of getting lost in things. So you just want to make sure that everything you're doing, you're creating content that people are going to watch all the way through so that you can get them in on the back end.
Yeah. And keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once you get a little bit deeper into it, you can jump into the analytics so you can actually see how much watch time they're actually doing. So analytics gives you a whole bunch of information. It's honestly a beast of its own. It covers topics as views, watch time, subscribers, keywords, and honestly, we can keep going for days about how much information it gives you. But I think jumping into watch time would be great because, for example, YouTube likes to push 10-minute videos. That's just how the algorithm's been working the past couple of years. But is a 10-minute video best for your audience? I think going into the analytics and realizing how much they actually watch when they drop off would be very ideal.
Yeah, absolutely. And to his point, when you go into the analytics dashboard, it can be super overwhelming. Even for someone like me, I don't deal in the technical aspect of it day to day. If I go into YouTube, I'm like, what are all these analytics? This is craziness. Like, where am I supposed to look? What if I'm looking at 5 things, what are those supposed to be? So there's so many resources out there, Social Media Examiner, there's tons of YouTube channels of just getting started with analytics for beginners. Because like I said, we can make all the beautiful things in the world. We can think it's awesome. If it's not performing well, it's not going to advance your business goals. So to Jesse's point, pick a few analytics that are going to be smart with you to start for and get really great at those and just make sure they're aligning with the work that you're putting in. Leads, I deal in partnerships. So leads are very, very important to me. If we're creating a whole bunch of stuff and it's not bringing in leads, then we're doing something wrong. So obviously we talked about getting people to watch all the way to the end of your video. You want that watch time, you want that retention, but then you want to pull them in. So as cheesy or salesy as it sounds to have a call to action at the end of your videos, it's very important. Do you have a lot of content out there and you want to push them to a next video? Do you want to redirect them to your website? Do you want them to like and subscribe? If there are things that you want people to do, you have to tell them. You can't assume that they're going to sit there and say, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to go down your sales funnel and, be the perfect customer. If we figured out how to make that exist, I probably wouldn't have a job or need a job. So we want to make sure that everything that you're putting into this aspect is what's absolutely going to push your sales forward. So obviously you see here, this is Dan Mace. He's more of a lifestyle vlogger. This is his next video that he's trying to push people to. So chances are, if I made it all the way to the end of the video I just watched, I want to watch another one. He's making it very, very clear. And then he's saying, please subscribe. This is a guy who has millions of YouTube subscribers, and he's still having to ask you, please subscribe, because it's not a natural thing for people to come in and want to do that. So he's asking you to subscribe. You can also put YouTube cards in here that people can click on with their cursor, click on, and it can bring them to a landing page, or it can bring them to a website, or it can push them to other things that are important for your business. So just make sure, again, you're doing all the work to create the video. Make sure that that last thing that people do is something that is going to move your business forward. Cool. So that's kind of what we had for the gist of getting through things in 20 minutes. Obviously, all our names are both here with our email addresses. We're super happy to answer any questions or have any conversations about ideas, concerns, questions, anything that you guys have. Like we said, there's so many online resources out there. So hopefully, if anything, this presentation just kind of made things feel a little bit more tangible, and you got excited about what possibilities are with YouTube for your business. But look at all the other resources out there, dive into things like Social Media Examiner, find the trusted YouTubers who have tens of millions of views telling you how to understand analytics, get started with content. But just make sure you're remembering who your audience is, what your content strategy needs to be. And then if you're doing the work to create all of the assets, make sure you're optimizing them as best you possibly can, because that's just the pat on the back you need in order for people to actually care about what you're putting out there, and bring them into either your sales cycle on the business side, or create fans on the personal side. JB, I think we might have a couple questions.
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys for this presentation. We received two questions actually. One from Michael, who is in San Diego. So I will ask you the question. I always post my webinars on YouTube. When I want to share them as well on my business Facebook page, I use the YouTube link and get very low engagement compared to picture or text that I post. Do you know why? Is there a specific reason to that?
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to take that one?
Yeah. So YouTube and Facebook, they're two completely different platforms. And I think you got to see it that way. So every time you post something on Facebook, they want you to directly upload that video to that platform. And when you upload something to YouTube and post it on Facebook, you're actually redirecting traffic to a different platform. And as a platform, they want you to stay on there as much as possible. So maybe that's why it's kind of booting you to a different spot or ranking you a little bit lower. But that's how it works for the most part with every single platform. If you post,
yeah. No, if platforms want you to stay on their platform. So if you're on Facebook trying to promote a YouTube link and you're trying to get your audience to go to YouTube, everybody, all the computers in the Facebook office are like, hold on, we don't want these people to leave. We want them to stay here. And therefore it's ranking your things lower than if you just upload, a photo or text that's keeping people on the platform. So I think a quick solve, if you can, is to just upload the video file directly to Facebook and build your Facebook audience separate from your YouTube audience. They're competitors in a lot of ways. At least we see it that way. And they're going to want you to stay on their own platform. So you have to have different channel strategies for all the different things. LinkedIn's the exact same way. If you post a YouTube link on LinkedIn, you're going to notice you're getting way fewer views than if you just upload the video natively to LinkedIn, because all the computers in the LinkedIn office don't want you to leave their platform either. So hopefully that helps kind of understand a little bit of a tactical way to approach more engagement there.
So this is extra work for the uploader anyway. So
yep, absolutely. More work. That's always the answer, right? More work.
Okay. And we receive another question from Barbara from Los Angeles.
Okay.
I would like to rename my YouTube channel link with my personal brand. Do you know how to do that?
Yes. Okay. So if you already have a custom URL, you're going to have to get rid of that one before they allow you to get a new one. You can't hold on to two custom URLs at the same time. And I believe in order to get a custom URL, you have to have 100 subscribers. So if you made a YouTube account today, you can't automatically get a custom URL. They make sure you're real, that you're not a bot, that you're committed to the platform and you're going to be creating. So get yourself up to 100 subscribers, and then it has to be at least 30 days old. So if you're awesome and lucky and on day one you get 100 subscribers, they still want to make sure that you're in it for the long haul of 30 days. So make sure 30 days have passed. You also have to have a photo uploaded as your channel icon and that channel art, which is the banner image. Again, once they give you a custom URL, it looks like a lot more legit of a YouTube profile. So they just want to make sure you have those things in place. So 100 subscribers, at least 30 days old, a profile photo and channel art. And then you should be able to create that custom URL for your brand.
Okay, great, thank you. I don't see any other question. Martin put a remark saying that uh, who is your audience? Everybody equals to nobody. So
That's
I
right. I'm gonna get that tattooed somewhere that people can see it.
So thank you guys. I think it's a wrap for today. I'm sure you are all in the audience know a bit more video gurus now. Thank you, Anna and Jesse, for your enthusiasm and expert view of our audience. We really appreciate it, and we are so happy to see you for other webinar series. And our next episode will be next week already, and it will be again with you, Anna, if you agree. With a great topic, and I must say very complicated for me, but so crucial when your audience is younger and not my generation anymore. So we will talk about TikTok and Snap. So the invitation will go out soon. So you will be informed when to register.
Perfect.
Thank you all, and please follow us on our social media to be kept informed about our activities, and have a great day or evening, and see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.